Yes. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Tina Greer Show Small Business Conversations. And I am excited you guys are joining us this evening. And we got a lot of great information we are going to share with you today. So come on in the room. I know Facebook, and we are actually streaming via Facebook Live. We're streaming live YouTube Live as well. So come on in the room and join us. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. I'm excited. You guys are here today, and I'm even more excited from our special guest today, Miss Cheryl Smith. Hey, Cheryl, how you doing?
Hey, I'm great. How are you, Tina?
I am wonderful. I am wonderful. So I was like, well, who is Miss Cheryl Smith? I want to really kind of tell you a little bit about Miss Smith. I've been announcing her all over the place. I've announced her Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, all over the place to let you know that this is where you need to be, because with Tina Greer Show, we bring in the experts, the subject matter experts. So we have none other than Miss Cheryl Smith. But let me tell you a little bit about Mrs. Smith. She is the she is the CEO of Dewlyn Nonprofit Services, a Metro Atlanta-based nonprofit consulting firm where she helps U.S. nonprofit organizations build substantially organizations through training, coaching, and grant writing. A lot of you guys always ask me, well, Tina, do you write grants? I need a grant. I was like, no, that's not my wheelhouse. We have someone for you. She's also the author of the book 21 Ways to Fund a Nonprofit, and she's a member of the American Grant Writers Association. She's also a nonprofit trainer for SCORE, serving the North Metro Atlanta counties, a guest speaker trainer for Point University, the Cobb Collaborative, World Changers Church, and she supports nonprofits reaching out to Georgia's small business development centers. Originally from Michigan, Cheryl earned her bachelor's degree from Michigan State University and completed her master's degree in public administration with a concentration in nonprofit administration from Kennesaw State University in Georgia. Wow, that is so impressive. As I tell you, I bring in top-notch experts here, and I just want to formally introduce Miss Cheryl Smith to the show. Hey, Cheryl, great.
Hey. Thank you.
Oh my gosh! I mean, this is just a snippet of her accolades. And again, throughout this bio that I share with you guys, she's very knowledgeable and not helping nonprofits. She cares about nonprofits doing well, and she actually is in the trenches helping them to succeed. So I wanted to be able to bring Miss Cheryl Smith on today to have a conversation about nonprofits and funding your cause. So before we even get started in the technical parts of it, let's get to know you a little bit better. Is it okay I call you Cheryl?
What's that?
Is it okay if I call you Cheryl?
Of course it is. Thank you, Tina.
Yeah, we're gonna keep this informal, but yet
Okay.
nuggets,
Cheryl.
right? We're gonna bring the information. So I know I talked about some of your accolades and what you're involved in and how you're helping the nonprofit community. Tell me, how did you get started with working with nonprofit? What was the passion behind you getting started?
Tina, I shared my childhood with foster children. I grew up in a home where we gave back. That's just a part of our lifestyle. My first job was at a community center. I was 14 years old. I don't think I was old enough to have a job. And I was a GED teacher. I realized I was really good at writing. I loved people. And so the teacher was sick one day in this community center. And I was there and I thought, I could do it. And so I started teaching GED classes. And I think
Wow.
that's all she wrote. When I graduated college from Michigan State, one of my first big girl jobs was working in a nonprofit teenage runaway home for girls. And I can't imagine doing anything else. I know that I'm a servant leader and I'm here to give back.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And you know what? As you were talking, there's some of the similarities. You actually have a master's degree in public administration, concentration nonprofit administration, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have a master's degree in public administration. I didn't know we
Really? I didn't know that.
but my specialization is finance. Go figure, right?
Go figure. You know, when I actually went into the program, the master's program for the MBA, and then I thought, but that's not what I want to do. I get one life. What do I want to do? And so I switched majors and decided to focus on the nonprofit side. But I didn't know that your master's was in public administration.
I didn't even know we had that similarity.
We do.
We have a lot in common. And we're both working in our field. So that's
every day.
Great. Every day. It's really would you say it's just really part of following your passion or that drive that you have, that internal drive you have, even as a child? Because I know you're related to working with nonprofits as a child.
Right. You know, Tina, there are people out there who they take on different jobs and they wonder, well, how does this all fit into my overall life, schematic? And, where I am now in life, I realize I use everything. Like, I didn't know that I would end up, running a consulting company for nonprofits. I didn't know that when I graduated college. I was using that first job to get to the next job because that's what you're thinking, staying afloat. Right. And I look back now at everything that happened in my life, personally and professionally, and it's all led me to this place. And I think that if I can convey anything, you know what, just master where you are because you're going to use it later.
That is so true because I knew that I was going to be a businesswoman. I didn't know particular what area I was going to focus on, but I did know that I love working with business and I love working with numbers and money. So it's just really amazing how we ended up in this space.
Yeah.
I know a lot of as I was, working with my clients and people come to my group wanting to join my group. A lot of them sometimes get, in regards to contracting, they get, get confused in regards to thinking competitive bidding is the same as grants. So they'll sometimes call what I do grants. The definitions confused. Can you explain, like, what does that entail as far as grants?
It's interesting that you say that because I'm on the grant side working with nonprofits, and people use that term interchangeably, and that's fine, but they are distinct. When you think about having a grant, and let's just stick with government, that's your wheelhouse, and sort of fine. And government grants, that's a contract. That's a contract between two people that's agreed to do something for some type of consideration, which is usually money, right? That's a contract. You've said, I'm going to deliver these services. In exchange, government, you're going to pay me for this. Whereas a grant, that's a flexible document. The government goes after their contracts specifically to fulfill a government need. They have a need to fulfill a service. Whereas on the grant side, government grants are it's discretionary. They don't have to fill that need. And you have a lot more flexibility in terms of how you fill the need. So a contract is one thing. A grant is the government has given me an award to do a thing, hoping that I do it. And if I use my best efforts, I've still accomplished the goal. Whereas on the contracting side, you don't get paid unless you deliver the service, right? On the grant side, it really is an instrument where the money is used to support a public purpose for the government. It's discretionary. There's flexibility there. The government's not so involved in how you get to the end goal. And so you usually get to have a creative definition of what you're going to do for this money. Whereas on a contract, there is no creative definition from you. The government has said, I need X number of services done, X number of date for X number of money. And so there's a fundamental difference between the two. It really is. On the contracting side too, it's cost reimbursement. You do the thing that was approved, you submit your cost reimbursement receipt, and then you get paid at some point from the government. Right. So you will. But it's a little, so on the contracts on the grant side, it's mostly cost reimbursement, but grants can be lump sum. So there is a difference.
Right. And so when people even come to me today and they interchange the narrative of what they actually need, stop them in their tracks and say, okay, wait a minute, I don't perform that service. I do X. I do competitive bidding. I help you and train you on competitive bidding. But there is definitely a distinction that I think that many people really need to look at in regards to how they're going to pursue these opportunities, in that space.
Yeah.
So tell me in regards to, I know that we talked about, your consulting firm, and many out here, nonprofits always are looking for ways to get funding, and can you tell us in regards to the services you provide with your consulting firm?
That we provide. And so,
how can you help?
So what we specialize is the small nonprofit. I come from larger nonprofits where it was nothing to write, just under $1 million, bringing in, revenue for the nonprofit that was larger. And it was when I was a SCORE volunteer at one point, Tina, and I was just literally just giving my services pro bono to help the nonprofit community along. And I heard story after story about, just being taken advantage of or not getting the resources that they need and not feeling like they have the same access to resources as the larger nonprofits who have, those resources, the financial resources to afford it. And I made a very distinct decision that I wanted to be in the nonprofit arena to be of support, but for the small guy. I am so for the small guy. So I work specifically with nonprofits that are emerging or new. And if you've been around for a while, that's okay, but you are still a small nonprofit that haven't reached your funding goals yet. And so what our company does is to help you get positioned for funding. And we do that in a couple of ways. And so obviously there's grant writing. I am a grant writer. That's the nature of what I do day to day. But there's also coaching. And then there's consulting. And there's a difference between the two in the nonprofit world. When we think about coaching, that's where it's you and me. We're on a call because we're in a pandemic. We're not face to face. We're on a call, a Zoom call, whichever virtual platform we're using, and we're talking through whatever is your situation so that we can get you from A to B. When we think about consulting, that's more me telling you just what to do. You do this, you do this, you do this. But we love the coaching piece because I believe that if you learn to do the thing, then you won't have to keep paying for that thing for the rest of your career, right? And so
I totally agree.
We prefer to teach you how to do it because believe for anybody that's listening, it is not rocket science. I'm doing it, right? I don't have a science background. It's not rocket science. You actually can learn to do this very well, very efficiently for yourself and never have to pay a grant writer or anybody else to do it for you. So we work with those nonprofits who are trying to get off the ground, get positioned for funding and sustainability that don't have the same kind of resources, but really deserve the opportunity to serve their community. So we're all about that nonprofit.
Wow, what you've expressed and in regards to the services you provide, it is so comparable to the services that I provide my clients. Again, if I can teach you and educate you how to understand a proposal, how to prepare a proposal, how to set up infrastructure so you can actually bid on opportunities, have a methodology, a system in place. If I can teach you how to fish, then you know. So, I strive to do that. And I think that's that education piece. We want people to thrive in their business and learn the process.
Yes.
Taking the time to learn the process. Now, I was on I think I was listening to a podcast or some YouTube interview earlier, and a person talked about paperwork and people being intimidated by the paperwork. Can you elaborate on that in the nonprofit sector? It's very important to have, to read it and understand it.
Oh my gosh, for sure. And so, like, there are several opportunities for funding if you're a nonprofit. Let me first start with saying this. If you are considering, or if you are a public charity, you've already know something about you. You've told the IRS that you're going to secure public funds. And so you have to do that. Even if you want to do fee for services or do some other form of revenue generation, activity, you still have to go after public funds because you told the IRS that you would do it. And so you can go after individual contributions, which is the largest form of giving in the United States. You can go after grants, which is the second largest source of funding for charitable programs in the United States. But you've got to do something that brings in the public funds. When we think about, well, how do we do that? How do we make sure we have a compelling ask? And that's what it boils down to. We want to make sure that we understand who we are, that we have got clarity of purpose, right? So we've got to communicate that to a potential funder. So we have to communicate who we are, what we do, how we do it, and how much it's going to cost. That's what we have to do. So we've got to be able to do that. Who we are, right? What we do, how we do it, and how much it's going to cost. And this is the thing that a lot of nonprofits don't like. And I'm one of those people who, I'm going to always tell you the truth. It might not be what you want to hear, but it will be the truth. You have got to really invest in learning and doing these things for yourself. You have to. Funders are counting on you to understand your business. And so when you go after funding in that way, you've got to be really accurate. You've got to be very concise, and it can't be just about you. One of the things, Tina, I can tell you that young nonprofits, they fall into this, it's about me. And so when you see their websites or you talk to them, it's big old pictures of them posing and all about the page of the founder. When you're a public charity, you don't own it. It's not about you. And so you want to focus on what it is you do for the community that you serve. And you want to focus on the people that benefit from you, not on you. That's going to go a long ways if you can just master those pieces. But it's certainly doable.
You know what? You just laid down some nuggets that, I mean, if people were in your coaching or consulting program, they would pay. Guys, I hope that you are writing this down. I hope you are taking notes because it is so important to understand the mission of the organization, why you do what you do. It has to be bigger than you. I mean, and that you have to have a passion, an inner drive in order to do this because it's a nonprofit. Now, one question or myth, you can maybe dispel this myth.
Okay.
When you are a nonprofit organization, does that mean that you're supposed to be broke, that you can't make money?
No, well, no. But you know what? That's not written anywhere. And so let me say, first and foremost, if you're a nonprofit organization, chances are you're a corporation. That means that you're not going to thrive unless you generate income. The organization can profit and should profit. You've got to implement programs. It's just that the organization can't share profits. There's no profit sharing with your board or people directly in control of the organization. So there's no profit sharing, but the organization itself has got to earn a profit if you want to thrive.
Wow. I'm glad that you cleared that up. Because that is a lot to say, well, a nonprofit, they're like, oh, well, you can't, I don't have it, you're not going to make any money if you have a nonprofit.
Oh my God, that's the furthest from the truth. You know what I get all the time, Tina, is people will say, well, can I pay myself? And I'm thinking, yeah, you absolutely can pay yourself. There's lots of founders that get paid. Here's the thing, and you're going to hear a lot of things out there. There's a lot of rhetoric around paying yourself if you're a nonprofit founder. When you become a nonprofit founder, you will forever and always be the founder. Nobody will ever take that away from you. But you will make a fundamental decision in your first maybe year or two. You're going to decide whether or not you want to be on the paid side or the governing side. And it's not that paying yourself is illegal, because it isn't. You can pay yourself if you're on the board. It's just frowned upon. right? So most people don't like to see, most funders don't like to see board members being paid a salary for their contribution to a nonprofit organization. A nonprofit board, they're your chief volunteers. And so if you want to retain a salary every single year, no worries. Become the executive director on the paid side, step off of the board, and pay yourself a salary. And again, and there's people out there who will say, oh, you can pay yourself on the board. Yes, you can. But if you're going after funding from grants, it's a detriment to you to do that.
Because they're going to look at everything.
Everything, exactly.
So they release the fund.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Didn't I tell you this was going to be quick? I already have 720.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
Already have 720. And the you know what? I'm looking at my phone. And let me see here if there's other questions, because I know that these are questions that individuals have as it relates to understanding nonprofit and what they can do with it and so forth. Now, when you talked about, can you kind of identify maybe resources or where a nonprofit organization should be looking in order to obtain grants or anything of that nature? Do you have any guidance?
Yeah, I do. Okay, so there's a couple of things. If they go to our website, we have a survey that's listed right now on the website because we're taking inventory of this small nonprofit across the US. If they take time to take this really like a couple minute survey, like 3-minute survey, then I've got a 10-page resource guide that shares funding databases, just a minor things that we're sharing in the 10-page document. So if they take the time for the survey, they can download it immediately and it will help them immeasurably. But in terms of where they can find funding, there's another thing that we do on our site. We have the Community Heroes newsletter. If you sign up for that newsletter, it's 100% free. There are no strings attached, right? So we're not selling your list or doing anything crazy with it. So your list, your name and information is protected. But we send out funding alerts every single month. So funding alerts, in addition to tips that you can use to move your nonprofit forward for absolutely free. We support over 3,000 nonprofits across the US every single year. And so come join us, be one of the nonprofits that we do support, because we want to see you succeed at this and, and help your community. But the other thing is that you can also go to free databases for grants. And so I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Foundation Center has an FDO quick search that you can sign up for that. It's 100% free, and you can search for opportunities right in your neck of the woods.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, about access and knowing where to look.
Yeah.
Market research, you have to do your research to find it may become tedious at times, but you need to either delegate with members on your team in your organization to help you, but really look and see, what money is out there that will fit within the mission of my organization.
That's right.
After it. So I think that's very, very important. Oh my gosh. I had a full list of questions for you. Let's see here. I'm gonna ask one more question.
Sure.
It's important. In regards, we're going to talk about credit, because sometimes people may have challenging credit and so forth, but let's just talk about credit in general.
Yeah.
So the question to you is, does your business or personal credit affect you if you would be awarded a grant as a nonprofit?
And so on the grant side, it's completely different, because remember that when you have a for-profit company, if you're going to get a loan, who's going to guarantee it? The owner, right? The owner guarantees the loan. And so your credit comes into play. It matters. But if you're a nonprofit, you don't own it. Nobody owns a public charity. And so there is no credit check for you unless you are trying to get a loan. That's different. But for grants, there's no credit check. What we look at is not so much your personal credit, but your social credit. Do you have the capacity to execute and implement the programs and do what you said you were going to do in the time frame you said you were going to do it for the money that you said you needed? And so we're looking at your social credit.
I like that. I've never heard of the term social credit.
Yeah.
Social credit. Um,
Mhm.
do they also take your maybe previous projects, your past performance into play as well of what you've done?
It always helps. And
Credit.
yeah,
Okay.
that's a part of your social credit. Nonprofits, you guys don't give yourself enough social credit either. If somebody were to ask you, well, how many people have you served in the last year, and you're just getting off the ground, chances are you're going to say, well, I haven't really started. Bless your heart. Yes, you have. There's no way that I'm going to believe that you started a nonprofit and you've not talked to one person about how they can improve themselves under what it is you do. Count everything. Anybody that you help, anybody that you move forward, that's an impact. So count everything. That's a part of your social credit.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I need to analyze my social credit for the Sisters United Foundation. Okay, I need to look at these numbers again.
Right.
It has been an impact. Oh my goodness, this has been so wonderful. I tell you, it's we're already past our time, and I do respect your time and you taking out the time to come on the show and share information on how to fund your cause. With grants, whether it be through federal or corporate grants. Since if you're a public charity, I mean, just really giving us really good, insightful information in order to move further along. So again, how if someone wants to consult with you, how can they reach out to you?
Well, they can reach me at communityheroes.us. So if you go to that website, then you can check out the About Us to learn more about me. And you can also look at the services that we do offer, some fee and some absolutely free. Our whole mission is to help you get to the next level, to help you be sustainable. And so we'll do whatever we need to do to make sure that happens. We want a better world too.
Awesome. Well, guys, you have a website here. Jot it down, schedule your appointment, get your questions answered from Miss Cheryl Smith. She has the knowledge, she has the education and experience in order to help you with your nonprofit endeavors. So again, I am so excited. I mean, my wheels are turning. We're relaunching Sisters United Foundation beginning in January. So we're slowly rolling out, reigniting our Facebook groups, our social media sites, and so forth. And we're excited because to be able to have and make a impact.
Yeah.
Women, through our mission of the organization. So again, I really am so happy that you took the time out to share valuable content with us today. Again, guys, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. The replay viewers, hit hashtag replay. That you did see this. For our YouTube viewers, put those comments in the comments. We'll be checking throughout all of our social media platforms. Again, my name is Tina Greer of Greer Business Solutions, providing coaching and consulting services in the area of competitive bidding on government contracts. Again, you can always reach out to me as well. Many of you know how to reach out to me, but that is my link to schedule a time to chat if you have questions about the federal government competitive side of bidding on government contracts. So that's always an option as well. So we are bringing nonprofit and competitive bidding together tonight in the small business conversation. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. And you want to say anything? Last words?
Thank you for having me. It's just been such a joy. This went by so fast. And so thank you so much, Tina. And thank you for all of the work that you do in this community supporting small business owners. You're amazing. So thank you.
Thank you. You as well. Well, you guys have a wonderful evening and we're signing out. Bye-bye.